Hello, friends and fellow seekers. Welcome back to the Law of One Spiritual Advice podcast. My name is Elle. If I could just start by asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the podcast if you appreciate my service in this area, while we jump into today's topics about patience, hope, and faith. So let us get started. I will just read you a quote from session 34.6 from the Raw Law of One material. They mention, "We observed your interest in the catalyst of pain. This experience is most common among your entities. The pain may be of the physical complex. More often, it is of the mental and emotional complex. In some few cases, the pain is spiritual in complex nature. This creates a potential for learning. The lessons to be learned vary. Almost always, these lessons include patience, tolerance, and the ability for the light touch. Very often, the catalyst for emotional pain, whether it be the death of the physical complex of an other self, which is loved, or some other seeming loss, will simply result in the opposite, in a bitterness, an impatience, a souring. This is catalyst which has gone awry. In these cases, then, there will be additional catalysts provided to offer the unmanifested self further opportunities for discovering the self as all-sufficient creator containing all that there is and full of joy." End of quote. And so I bring this quote to you to muse upon pain and suffering. For in the last week or two, I've been going through a bit of that. I've been dealing with one of my beloved cats, Charlie, who has been diagnosed with some kidney issues, as happens with some cats. But I have lost some other animals in sort of the recent past, and so as they state here about, the seeming loss of some loved one or other seeming loss, it can result in pain. And even if the emotions aren't expressed and felt appropriately, it can manifest in the opposite of such as bitterness and impatience and souring and getting upset with life and just being an overall bummer of a person, as right? So yeah, today I just had a few thoughts about pain and suffering and how I know that you all go through sorts of things which are similar. And hopefully in communicating these types of things, I'm not bringing you down. That's not my point. But I do like to be vulnerable and honest with everyone because I know that everyone goes through certain types of suffering. And so I hope that you can just relate and maybe gain some hope and strength from me, even when I don't fully have it, right? I know you can't charge another battery from a similar dead battery, but I hope that even in my seeming down times that I can express some love and gratitude and thoughts to you, which will be helpful in your path. And so this quote is helpful for me, and that yes, I am going through some of the catalyst of pain, and it is not easy, but the things that keep coming up into my mind are hope and faith, and of course, patience. And they even state in that quote there, almost always these lessons include patience, tolerance, and the ability for the light touch. I consider that we can't just run through our catalyst quick. It would be nice to just deal with all of the shadow work that we have to deal with in a day and then move on to being joyful and full of love and gratitude again. However, it is not always the case that you can force something like that. In fact, I would suggest more so that sometimes you do need to really feel the pain and feel the suffering that is going on within you, not pushing it down into somewhere that is of a suppressing nature. We want to experience all of these emotions because as we go through the dark night of the soul and we experience the things that we do not, then we can come more into a place where we can be grateful for the things that are maybe more simple, such as the times that you are in gratitude and health and joy. And sometimes we underestimate how awesome that is to be in a state of just general health and love and joy, but then it's easy to be like, well, am I even doing anything proper with just being this way? And I would suggest that yes, we are. So maybe some of these things are happening to me because I wasn't maybe being completely grateful for when I was healthy and in joy and love and gratitude and all of that. And so I go down to the depths of the bottom of the sea so that I may experience myself and shed some of the layers of emotions and catalyst that is needed so that I may rise again to the top and see the light and see the love of the one infinite creator. And so, yes, in the last week, it seems like that as my cat has been going through this situation and I see him suffering, which I'll mention he is better in the last few days, so don't worry too much. But it definitely triggered some things within me which I wasn't, I guess, completely ready to deal with. It was almost like I know what it's like when people say that they're actually properly depressed, and it's like all the loving, wonderful things in your life that normally would elicit joy, all of a sudden it's like they mean nothing to you. It's like everything you look at, it just reminds you of something negative. It's like you're just being pushed down under the water, and it's almost like there's no hope. And so whenever that was happening to me, I am obviously a philosophizer of this type of material, and some things come to my mind, and I know that in those times having hope and faith is the most important thing that I can do, even though I can't completely feel it. Right? Like it's not like I know that this hope and this faith is going to result in something positive for me, but I have to, because there is no other option. There's no other option except to just continue suffering and continue being in that depressed nature. And so I have that hope and faith. And then I ran into a friend's video the other day where he mentioned about patience. And so as with patience with other people, we have to be patient with ourselves as well. We have to be patient that we're going through a certain type of process, and that is okay. And it's okay not to be in complete love and joy at all periods and times. Sometimes we just have to be patient with ourselves, get through the week, and if you can't get through the week, you get through the day, and if you can't get through the day, you get through the next hour, and if you can't get through the next hour, you get through the next 10 minutes. Make them break it down as far as you need to just keep pushing on and to keep going, and to bring some hope into your life that you will make it through this. You will make it through this. You're going to make it through this. And whenever these types of thoughts come into my mind, I am also an avid gardener, and so I always think of all of these funny or appropriate gardening metaphors which help me to have that faith and hope to hold on a little bit longer. So I'm just going to share a quick thing. If you've gardened or not, you'll maybe understand. So let's just take, for example, planting some carrots. Okay, so first you need to weed the soil, and then you plant these carrot seeds and you water them. Okay, wonderful. You've done great. Now these seeds start to sprout. And so as seeds sprout, they're very, very slow. It's almost like you think this isn't going to work. And you're like, how is this tiny little seed even going to do anything? Like, it's so small. It's created this tiny little sprout. But first of all, it maybe took a week or two to even see the sprout. You've planted these seeds and you're still just looking at the same muck and dirt and soil that was there before. Now all of a sudden you have some sprouts, and okay, great, I've got some sprouts. That's a good start. And you would think that they might just keep growing super fast, but they do not. They grow very, very slow at first. The seed needs time to make that sprout, to then have enough surface area to collect more sun, but it takes quite a while for that surface area to build. And so you get this sprout of a plant, and you have to keep caring for it and loving it, or else, if you give up, it will move on. It will die. And so what you need to do is to have that hope and the faith that this little seed will keep sprouting and keep growing as long as you keep giving it love and your good efforts. And what eventually happens is it's sort of like an exponential growth, I find, with plants. You'll plant them, and they may not sprout for a week or two, and then the sprout will take like 5-6 weeks, sometimes even, to look like it's even a plant. Now, finally, once it starts to get a little bit of girth to it and some actual surface area in its leaves, now all of a sudden it takes off, right? And now all of a sudden it's like exponential growth. But there was this period of time where you had to really just hold on to the vision of the larger plant and the fruit that it was going to create, and hold on to that and keep loving it so that that fruit can manifest. And so it is with life, and that's how I find it as well, is that sometimes we have a bad day, we have a bad week, whatever it may be, and it is tempting to want to give up. And I would just encourage you all to not give up. Keep watering those plants. Have patience with yourself. Hi, Charlie. I don't know. You hear him yelling at me? See, he's a happy boy. So keep having the faith and the love and growing those plants, and that exponential growth will eventually take off. That plant will grow and higher up into the air, and then will start to create fruit. And so, we don't necessarily just do it for the fruit, but that is the nature of life and earth, is that we grow, and with that comes the fruit and comes the harvest of that fruit. And so we all have our own unique fruit that we shall grow. No two fruits shall be the same. You shall have different fruit from mine. But what, honey? Hi, I love you. Yes. Okay. Everyone says hi back to you. Okay. Yeah, I'm talking about you. Okay, sorry, he threw me off, but you get the idea, okay? The plant takes a long time to grow. It seems like nothing's going to happen, but as long as you keep on persisting and have that patience and keep the love going, it will eventually sprout into something. And maybe I'm just saying this to help myself, but I'm sure it maybe help one of you too. Now, before I was mentioning about repression, and so I do have a quick quote here from session 42.9, the raw material. Questioner asks, what is the difference in terms of energy center activation between a person who represses emotionally charged responses to emotionally charged situations and the person who is balanced and therefore truly unswayed by emotionally charged situations? Ra answers, I am Ra. This query contains an incorrect assumption. To the truly balanced entity, no situation would be emotionally charged. With this understood, we may say the following. The repression of emotions depolarizes the entity insofar as it then chooses not to use the catalytic action of the space-time present in a spontaneous manner, thus dimming the energy centers. There is, however, some polarization towards the positive if the cause of this suppression is consideration for other selves. The entity which has worked long enough with the catalyst to be able to feel the catalyst but not find it necessary to express reactions is not yet balanced but suffers no depolarization due to the transparency of its experiential continuum. Thus, the gradual increase in the ability to observe one's reactions and to know the self will bring the self ever closer to a true balance. Patience is requested and suggested, for the catalyst is intense upon your plane, and its use must be appreciated over a period of consistent learned teaching. End of quote. And so you wonder why I read you that one, because of that very last sentence. That one sticks out to me often in my mind when I'm going through a tough time. Patience is requested and suggested, for the catalyst is intense upon our plane, and its use must be appreciated over a period of consistent learned teaching. In other words, in consistent learning. And then if I'm just to back up a little bit, they're talking about spontaneous manner. And that's what I was saying about not suppressing your catalyst, not suppressing the emotions that you're dealing with. Sometimes we need to just deal with it, see what they're trying to tell us, see what the lesson is in this particular set of circumstances that is currently happening to you. You don't want to just push it down, because then you're really just dimming yourself. You're not necessarily learning. You're just putting off the lesson for another day, when in reality what you would like to do is to work with acceptance of self and acceptance of these emotions that are running through you. Have them run through you, see what they have to teach you, and have that hope and that faith that, the seemingly negative emotions shall subside as the lesson is slowly learned over a long period of time sometimes, and just have patience for yourself in the meantime that, this is going to end up with some good fruit for you at the end. Even the negative things that seem to happen to us are often the beginning of the most positive changes and transformations that we are ready for. It's just that, as Ross says in other places, sometimes we aren't so voluntary in our learning, and so sometimes catalyst is offered like the board to the forehead, so that we may take notice, and the higher self may provide you with the catalyst that you have gone through so much trouble to offer yourself. And then I just posted this quote on the Law of One Instagram today, and I just ran into it spontaneously, so I figure I should read it here. This is from the Quo material from the transcripts from LL Research. Quo says, "When did you expect to be perfect, comfortable, or settled if you wish to be of a pilgrim on this particular road to infinity? You know well you expected none of those things. Comfort yourself, therefore, through the frustration, love yourself through the anger, and cherish yourself through the depression and the grieving at the loss of the old familiar ways. Above all, release the spirit pilgrim from the strictures of perceived time, and know with every fiber of the being that the Creator's time will become your time at the absolute moment of manifestation of transformation. Watch, wait, pray, praise, and give thanks. Always give thanks, and this thanks and praise will inform to a great degree the attitude that must lighten up the load of the negative emotion." And that's Quo, dated 1992, July 12th, if you're to look that up on llresearch.org. So I know it's tough to give thanks when you're feeling down in the dirt. However, that is what we are here to do, is to have that faith to continue on. In fact, it is my understanding that as we are here in this third density behind the veil in Shadowland, that is a lot about what we are developing, is the faith to keep loving, to keep opening that heart chakra, that attitude of love and understanding, of course for other selves, but of course for the self as well. I know sometimes we are always thinking about other selves and how to be a better person to them, but sometimes we need to be a better person to ourselves as well, and to have that patience and that love and that hope and that faith, to just carry on and to just keep doing your best. That's all you can do, is you can do your best, and you're going to be confused and you're going to make mistakes, and that's going to be okay, because eventually you will learn, and eventually the light will be shown to you, and all is well in the long run of things, even when it seems that things are very much not so the case. And so I was just going to make this a quick one today, and also some things that keep coming to mind that I've experienced over the past week as I'm down in the dumps there, is to ask for help, ask the unseen forces at your back for help. I like to say something like, those in love and service to the one infinite Creator, any of my guides, any fellow seekers, please help me, help me, help me to see the light, help me to keep the faith, help me to keep that hope alive in me, because I need it, and I need it bad. And so, you just have to ask, and it may not become immediate right away, right? Sometimes the asking, there's a bit of a delay in the time of the asking and the receiving, but the way I understand free will is that you do need to ask for the loving, positive service to others, unseen entities who are all about us at all the time, for them to assist you, because the negative entities don't really care about your free will. They'd be happy to magnify the pain and the anger that is within you, but the service to others entities, work within the realms of free will, and so they would appreciate it if you asked for help, and even gave gratitude, because giving gratitude is another way of thanking for the help. So yes, these are just a few things that come to mind that I have been dealing with over the past week, and I hope that you aren't too worried about me. I'm generally doing okay, and I love you guys all, just for all the support and the lovely messages that you leave me, wherever they may be, on this YouTube channel, on the Instagram channel, just in general, and sending me messages. I'm so infinitely grateful for any connections that I have through this, and I am here to serve. And so I hope that through my suffering sometimes, even though I'd love to just be a lovely, positive, bubbly personality for you at all periods, I go through my own set of circumstances, and I just like to be vulnerable and honest with you about that, so that everyone's human out there, everyone goes through their things. It is what it is, and you can just keep trying and doing your best, and there's other people out there that are doing the same, and so together we are strong. And so thank you all for being here together with me today. Once again, if you appreciate this, you could just give it a like. It helps it to be seen by other people. Maybe share it around. And yeah, other than that, freely give, freely receive. I just wish to have all of this podcast, all the stuff that I do, come out in a free sort of manner. And so if you'd like to jump on my Patreon, shoot me a one-time PayPal. That does assist me in continuing on with these efforts and into operating in a way that I find is healthy for spiritual philosophy to be shared. And I am very grateful for all of you that do jump on there and send me little bits of love here and there. It does go a long way with just besides my day job that I have. So yeah, it means a lot to me. Thank you guys. You can do that at theoneinfinitecreator.com and scroll down to the support section. Other than that, I'm just sending you the love and the hope and the faith to continue on, and I wish you all the best this week and moving forward. Okay, love you guys. Take care.